bus tours.
Have you guys ever wondered what school was like 2,000 years ago? It was very different from the school we are in today. Hi, my name is Cassie Scoffel, and I'm going to tell you guys about how schools in Kentucky have changed since the 1800s. Even in the early days of Kentucky, education was important. Those that lived during the frontier times experienced Kentucky as a battlefield, not a school ground. Yet they still valued learning, and teachers taught students in forts and in rough schools. This caused education to be viewed as a private matter, then causing the state to not fund schools properly. Without proper funding, Kentucky schools were held back, and problems of weak education, poor schools, closings, and low attendance rates soon arose. Kentuckians knew something had to be done to change this epidemic. And then, with the help of the U.S. government, finally in 1838, Kentucky set up a system of public schools. An important man to the public education system was Reverend Robert J. Breckinridge. Once he became superintendent, he pushed for more taxes to fund the school system and caused a huge improvement in the quality of schools and the number of children that attended them. Early school life in Kentucky typically looked like one-room schools with one teacher. Instruction time was given in turns to the students, and out loud lessons were ideal. Decades passed and not much changed about Kentucky's schools. The lack of proper funding to improve schools continued for nearly a century later. This means that for a long time, children in Kentucky went to schools that were not supported at the level that they should have been. Some things were taught well and others not at all. These gaps in education were common across the entire state. Even in these early times, teachers faced the problem of violence in schools. Special schools began opening in Kentucky as well. For example, a school for Indians opened in 1825, the Kentucky School for the Deaf in 1823, and a school for visually impaired opened soon after. Also, church-supported or settlement schools opened and played a huge role in early Kentucky education. Schools in Kentucky finally started catching up with the rest of the U.S. in the second half of the 20th century. However, by then they had fallen so far behind, it was quite a feat to accomplish. 3 big changes came in the 1900s, and the effects can still be seen today. First is a law that passed in 1908 stating that every county in the state must set up a public high school in its borders, and tax money would be provided to the schools, giving them 5 times the funding they received before. The second major change occurred when the U.S. Supreme Court invalidated segregation and ruled that black and white students could go to the school together. Finally, the third change was the Kentucky Education Reform Act in 1990. This required a new education system to be put in place, creating a more level playing field for all Kentucky counties. Colleges and universities in Kentucky became increasingly popular as years went on. Higher education in Kentucky has been around since the early times. The first school of this type is what is now known as Transylvania University, which began having classes in 1785 in a log cabin. Colleges popped up all over the state, offering a variety of trades and lessons. There became a need for another type of school in Kentucky, however. People wanted a place where those from any financial class could attend, or a school with larger class sizes and a lower price. This need created the University of Kentucky and other state-supported colleges in the state. Over the years, the state has built a system of higher education that offers students many choices. All in all, many good changes have happened in Kentucky schools over the last 2,000 years.